how's it going? Welcome back to Core Life Chit Chat. I'm your host, Nav Walia, and boy have I got a lot to catch you up on. First off, if you're wondering where the heck I was last week, spoiler alert, I was buried under a mountain of LSAT prep. Yup, your boy's aiming for the stars. Or maybe just a law career. Because let's be honest, being rejected from med school just wasn't enough of a blow to my ego and self-confidence, and therefore I decided, hey, why don't I get rejected from law schools as well? I'm sure that'll do the trick. But seriously though, I'm thrilled to be back. I haven't just been hitting the books. Behind the scenes, I've been reaching out to various people from various walks of life who would be incredible guests on the show. And along with that, I've also been reaching out to other podcasts for collaborations. So, get ready for some exciting crossovers, hopefully soon. Along with all that, I've also been toying with the idea of making a website for the podcast. Imagine that, your one-stop shop to all things Core Life Chit Chat. Along with creating a mailing list that would let you know what's coming up in the week, what conversations I'm having behind the scenes regarding the show, and another way for me to connect with my audience and spread the chaos that is this podcast and the stories that are shared on it. P.S. I'm beginning to see a trend of a lot of kidnapping stories on my show, so hopefully I'm able to replace that trend with a different trend. But a lot of you have been enjoying the chaotic and insane kidnapping stories, such as Son being kidnapped by a drunk girl, or my friend Nell being kidnapped and locked in a room. That story was shared on episode 9, so if you haven't tuned into that, give it a listen. It resulted in her losing a scarf and her favorite shoes, and saying that she has a chip implanted in her neck. Yeah, that was a really fucking wild first day story. But moving on, I've also been digging through the archives to create new clips from the past episodes, so the social media for the show is going to be a lot busier in the coming future. And here's a big announcement. I'm officially launching video versions of the podcast on Spotify and YouTube, but not on Apple Podcast. Unfortunately, Apple is a little hoe and doesn't let video content to be uploaded. But as of right now, only select episodes will make the cut and be published on Spotify and YouTube, and with only the consent of my guest. So, be tuned for the upcoming posts on the social media for the show to see when and which episodes are being published in their video format. But I gotta admit, people, making those thumbnails has been a lot tougher than prepping for the LSAT. I shit you not. Who knew my face needed so many angles and so many filters to hide my overwhelming sex appeal? Plus, I got a fresh fade, and let me tell you, I looked at myself in the mirror today, and I'm not joking. I was hypnotized. Actually, I wasn't even just hypnotized, I was mesmerized, and that's no joke. So, shout out to my barber Ariel, he's a little cutie. But more importantly, I'm happy to celebrate our 10th episode. It's such a big milestone to me. It's been an incredible journey, and I couldn't have done it without you and your support. You all tuning in week after week into my show, it truly warms my heart, and to know that you take the time out of your busy schedule and hear me talk with my friends and allow me to entertain you for 35 minutes, 40 minutes, or even 5 minutes. It's really nice, and I'm just very thankful. And all of you tuning in every week, you allow me to fulfill my desire and my dream to entertain people and make them laugh, or at the very least, make them chuckle. So thank you very much. And I hope you continue to tune in the following weeks as well. And I hope you help me spread the word for my podcast and share it among your friends and share the stories among your friends. Thank you very much. And here's to many more episodes of laughter, stories, and a whole lot of chit chat. Alright folks, for this episode I have my friend Nell back on. Last one we shot together, episode 9. It was a lot of fun, but we went in there unplanned. So I thought, hey, let's make another one together, have it properly graphed out, where we'll delve into some slightly serious topics. But another reason we are recording another episode together back to back is because Nell wouldn't get off my back about recording an episode. Isn't that right? No.
No, that is not factual evidence.
You told me that my being on my show was your life's greatest achievement. What are you talking about?
That is BS.
Sure. The topics I have chosen for this episode. I know you cook a lot, so a little bit about cooking, a little bit about friendship dynamics because I was told my couple of my male listeners to ask you some questions. But the last topic I've chosen, it's a bit of a heavy one that I want to get your opinion on. I had a conversation with a girlfriend of mine over the weekend, and it's revolving on sexualizing women, objectification of women among society. So I'm curious what your take is on some of those. Now, I know you cook a lot, even though I don't think you're a good cook. Have you ever?
So rude.
I listen. I never tasted anything you've cooked, but I don't know. You just got that vibe that you just burn things, you know. But my question to you is this: what's your biggest cooking fail? Like, have you ever like tried to cook for an ex or a relationship or a potential partner, and it just failed miserably?
No, I've only ever had success stories.
Okay. I know I cook a lot, and I cook quite a bit. I never really cooked like for a significant other because I don't really date because I'm a man of God and Jesus is my lover. But I have
You
a
have
really terrible
no
a
time for
cooking fail.
females.
I'm sorry?
I said you have no time for females. It's
Dude,
about
I have no that is true. I have no time for females. Only males. So any dudes that want to slide in my DMs, hit me up. But I have a terrible story that revolves around cooking. So basically, I don't know if I shared this ever. I was living, grew up in India. I was living in India, and I was like maybe like 8, 7, and my family we were gonna have dinner all together, and they made this like curry. It was really hot, like it was fresh out of the pressure cooker, piping hot. The whole family like gathered and ready to eat it. And my mom puts it in this like big bowl, like really big bowl for like the whole family. Again, it's piping hot. And I was a kid. We were gonna have it with rice. And my thing is, I always mix the curry into the rice like properly, and then I eat it. So I mixed my rice and everything. I placed the plate onto the bed because I was eating on the bed, and the bowl was behind where the plate was. So I thought I had enough space where I can just hop on the bed and sit down completely, and it'll be all okay.
no.
And boy, was I wrong. I sat down into the bowl of hot curry. No joke. The bowl of hot curry just sat right in it. I burned my butt. Okay, I'm fucking screaming. The curry's like all over the bed. My family's panicking, and I run out. I'm like screaming, top of my lungs. And basically, I burned it so bad that I got like a blister on my lower back, right above my booty cheeks. My right
Stop.
above my 7-year-old booty cheeks, and because I was like 7, 8, and it hurt, I couldn't wear like boxers or pants or whatever. So, my family got me a week off from the school, and they were like, "Yeah, this kid can't go to school because like kid just straight up burned his butt." So I used to wear my aunt's skirt all the way up to my chest. I used to wear a
Stop.
skirt all the way up to my chest, and it would cover like everything. And I would just run around in the house with it and wear nothing underneath. I think there used to be pictures about it, and my family, like my mom, still jokes about it. And that's all I did for a week straight. Is wear my aunt's fucking skirt.
That's
That
too.
genuinely horrifies me. That's why, like, till now, like, I just don't eat I don't eat food that's like super hot. I can't do it. And I sat in the whole fucking bowl of curry. So, and my mom, like, literally, she was talking about this yesterday. She was like, bro, nobody ate dinner that late. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, all of it spilled, motherfucker. What's the biggest cooking fail that you've had? Like, like, something that you tried to make and you fucked it up? You ever come across something like that?
No, I actually haven't.
Okay, you know this modest thing that you're doing for the show that you gotta be like, oh, I'm so perfect, nothing's
No,
wrong.
I'm
Fuck you.
serious. I'm
Uh
serious.
huh.
I've actually never had a cooking fail.
Okay. The worst cooking fail I had besides like sitting in a hot bowl of curry, I think I tried to make brownies, but I thought it would taste better if I had unsweetened dark chocolate.
No, that makes it
And let's
better.
just say I used 1 cup of flour and 12 cups of sugar, and it tasted just normal. But my friend loved it, you know. That is boy cooking right there, or boy baking. Speaking a little about cooking, did you just sneeze on my show?
Yeah, it's bad luck, I know.
Okay, but moving past, because you're too fucking perfect to have any cooking fails. Moving on to a different topic, I asked a lot of my male friends. I was like, "Hey, Nell's gonna be back on. What should I ask?" And the main question, the most important question I was asked, is that I should touch on this. What are your thoughts as a woman on whether guys and girls can be friends or not? I know this is it is one of those things where it's like, yeah, it should, but as we get older, every dude, at least in a guy's world, every dude's like, dude, guys and girls don't jive as friends. What's your take as a woman?
I think it depends on the circumstance. Like, I don't know that girls and guys can be friends, like, if any romantic or like sexual feelings are involved.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like, or if they have a past with each other,
Mm-hmm.
like their exes, I don't know that you can always get along. I mean, there's always the odd situation that it does work, but I feel like more times than not, it doesn't actually work.
Okay. Wait, what's your take on like exes being friends? I guess have you ever tried that? Have you ever been in a situation like that? I haven't. I'm curious.
I mean, yeah, but it always seems to fizzle out, so it's not like it ever like
It is
I
actually
don't
proper friendship.
yeah, like I don't go for brunch with my any of my exes, so and I'm pretty sure
Dude,
all
I
my
don't.
exes are married, so I don't know that their wives want to share. So,
Is it okay? So, our friends, our mutual friends. We always, even I've told you. I think the dream is that you can be friends with your ex, and it's healthy, and she's dating somebody, you're dating somebody, and you're still friends. It's not weird. You think that's attainable? Or you think my dream is like too juvenile
I think because you've never had the wonderful experience
of a heartbreak?
of a heartbreak or having an ex,
Uh huh.
I think you live in a fantasy world where there are sunshines and rainbows.
Okay. Okay. Rude, but okay.
And I just don't think that that is reality, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I hope that in your case, it is your reality. I hope you never get your heart broken.
I did actually get my heart broken today. I don't know if I told you, but basically, I was having a great day, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to Costco and buy their new chocolate chip cookie because it's delicious. And I went there, didn't have any, and I have never known pain like this before.
Says the person that's literally had them 2 days in a row starting the other day.
Dude, they're really good. They're really good. Anybody that's listening to me, if you have a Costco nearby, you gotta get their fucking new chocolate chip cookies. Okay, they're really good. I promise. But speaking of exes can't be friends, one of the things like I actually firmly believe about guys and girls being friends is you can't be friends if one of you is potentially sexually interested or interested that the dynamic could be a bit more than friends, right? And people always say like platonic, we gotta be platonic. Do you believe platonic exists or not? I don't think it exists.
Oh, I totally think it exists.
That's actually interesting. I don't believe platonic exists. I think if you're surrounded by people long enough, I think you're bound to eventually see them or slowly develop feelings to some extent. But I think the moment people try to be platonic, they are in a way indirectly opening the door that, oh, there can be more, so we can't go through that door. What's your take on this?
I think, I mean, like I said before, like it's all situation, like it depends on the situation. So, like I have guy friends where like there's never been any sort of feelings. It's always been platonic. And like there's never been an issue with that, nor has it ever been in like a question like, oh, could there be something? Of course, like sometimes lines can get blurred, and that can definitely mess a relationship and friendship up, but I don't think it's like not achievable to be platonic with somebody.
Okay, I get that. Do you think when a guy and a girl, their friendship doesn't really go well, it kind of separates? What's been the basic trend that you've seen?
Definitely like a lot of jealousy from both sides.
Like regarding their partners, or what do you mean?
No, like I mean, if you were like friends with somebody and you caught feelings and then they like started to like date or were seeing other people, like
Mm-hmm.
I've seen definitely where that person can like get jealous and like if only one side reciprocates feelings, it's definitely hard. But I feel like if that is to happen, it's probably better to either like have the open conversation and discuss like, like this is how I feel. If you don't return the feelings, then that's really fine. Either like that other person needs to like move on if you want to
Mm-hmm.
keep the friendship, or you just go your separate ways and just like wish each other the best.
Okay. From all the conversations I've had, I've seen jealousy as one of the main contributing factors to why, the guys just kind of like dip out of friendship. But my thing is like, in a guy's world, being friends with a girl is like, in a way, like indirectly frowned upon. Like you don't want to be friends with a girl. It's either like, your friends will tease you like, oh my god, you're in the friend zone, or it's like, oh, why are you friends with a girl? It's fucking weird, and so on and so forth. Is that the same in a girl's world? Are girls kind of like, dude, don't be friends with the guys. That's fucking weird, or
No,
no?
I don't think girls care as much.
Okay. I mean, that's actually kind of refreshing to hear. Guys care so much. Guys care a little too much. Um, but
I
I'm
think
glad we had
because
that.
guys give each other such a hard time on things like that
That is
that
true.
they almost like take it too far. So then whoever's like being given the hard time, they feel like, oh, well, like, like my friends are gonna make fun of me or my friends like are just gonna give me a hard time. So it's just easier to like not have it as like something to make fun of. So whereas like girls, like nobody really nobody really cares about that sort of thing.
Okay. That's that's a bit refreshing to hear. Another question one of my male listeners told me to ask you is, can you please ask your friend as a girl why girls are the way they are? That's a great question in my opinion. Why the fuck are you all so annoying? And very, very demanding. What's with this?
I think we just want what we want when we want it.
Okay. I mean, I feel like it's got to be deeper than that, no?
I mean, I can only speak for myself.
Okay, why are you so annoying? I deal with you almost on the daily. Why the fuck are you annoying now?
Why don't you tell me? I don't think I'm annoying.
Okay. The question I have from one of my audience members is it better? This is actually a very interesting question because this actually reminds me. You've listened to the show. You remember Terry, right? My friend?
Yeah, of
He was on
course.
episode 2.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so just to kind of, if you don't remember Terry's story, basically he had a friend for whom he developed feelings, confessed,
Hmm.
didn't go too well, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, after Terry's episode, me and my friends, like, you know, had a pretty long conversation about, like, what's the route to take when you're starting a relationship or when you're hoping to start one. And this is what this question is based off. So the guy, one of my audience, is asking, if you want to if you want to have a relationship, what's better? Starting with the intent of dating or starting with the intent of being friends and then transitioning into dating?
I mean, I feel like as long as you're on the same page, you can go either way. I mean, it's always nice to definitely like establish like a foundation with a person
Uh-huh.
as a friendship, which is good. But I mean, I think definitely having the conversation, like if they could potentially be somebody that like you're going to like be in a relationship with, it's more of like, oh, like why don't we take this slow and like just get to know each other and like feel it out as friends. And then if we like both decide to like want more, then we'll have that
Uh-huh.
conversation then. And if not, then like we're both okay to like be friends. So I think it just depends on how you like start the situation. And I mean, worst case scenario, you start off and you're dating and it doesn't work out and then you're better off as friends. Like it could literally go either way.
Okay. I understand that. What's your preference? Do you have a preference? Would you want to be friends with a guy first and then see, or would you want to just from the get go? I'm looking for something, find a guy that meets that criteria.
I mean, I think it depends. Like depends like what you're like what I would be seeking out, I guess. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I am definitely more of a person that, wants to get to know somebody more. Like
Mm-hmm.
even if I am going out on dates with somebody and it's like consistent, like it doesn't mean that like we're dating. It just means like, yeah, we're going on dates and we're seeing where things are going. And I mean, there's like no like it's not I guess like exclusive in a way, but it
Mm-hmm.
also doesn't mean that like I'm also going out with other people. So I think like establishing like boundaries and just having like an open conversation. Like I feel like when I am in that situation, like I'm very open about it, about like what I want, like like just see where things go and like eventually it turn into a relationship. Like that's the goal, but if it doesn't, it doesn't. Like there's no hard feelings for me
Okay, so
anyway.
you're leaning a bit towards being friends and then transitioning into potentially more. Okay, yeah, I get that. That makes a lot of sense. Speaking of dating, or a little connected to it, over this past weekend, I was talking to a girlfriend of mine, and we started discussing about how women are objectified in society and whatnot. And it basically, as crazy as it's gonna sound, it basically transpired by a T Swift meme I sent. And I'm not gonna lie, man, fucking Swifties, okay? You guys are just like a gift that keeps on giving. So my question to you is, have you ever been in a situation where you felt objectified by a guy? Has that happened to you?
Oh,
If so, how often
100%.
is this?
I
100%.
feel like
Okay.
it's like more often than not.
More often than not. Okay. Can you describe to me, just like in a feminine perspective? Obviously, I understand what objectification and sexualization of a person can be, but in a feminine perspective, how would you describe the difference between sexualizing a woman, a man, compared to objectifying a woman or a man?
Well, I mean, objectifying somebody is like looking at them as like they are not human and that they're an object, whereas when you're like sexualizing somebody, it's like you're more so thinking
Mm-hmm.
them as like something that you're in the nicest terms. It's
Mm-hmm.
just something to use to like get off and move on.
Okay, so sexualizing. Okay, I understand. See, I talked to a lot. I talked about this topic a fair times over the years with my guy friends, and like objectification. Maybe it's my friends and my group's thing, or maybe it is a guy thing. I'm not sure, but a concept we have is just objectification is predominantly sexual. Like you only see that person strictly as a sexual being. Like you don't care about their feelings, anything. Just strictly sex. And sexualizing is just like speaking about like, oh my gosh, she's so attractive. Oh my gosh, she's so hot. Blah blah blah. Are you saying like in a girl's word, like objectification isn't sexual and sexualizing is sexual, or can it?
Yeah. I wouldn't say being objectified is sexual.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. How did you deal with the circumstance where you were objectified as well? Like how did you handle that?
I mean, probably as bad as it sounds, I feel like as a woman, like it happens so often that it just doesn't really phase me. It's just
That
like
sucks. I'm so sorry
no,
to hear
like
that.
it truly like as bad as that sounds, like it just
Uh huh.
genuinely like I know what's happening and it's like I just don't care enough to react because that just makes it worse.
That sucks. I'm really sorry that is that frequently occurring. I know like sexualizing is often. I didn't know objectification is that often occurring. Did you ever address the actions? Like did you ever cope with them in a certain way? Or is it like you're just so immune to it that it doesn't hurt you or impact you or make you think negatively?
No, it doesn't really like impact me. I mean, I'm sure it does to like most people, but
Okay.
yeah.
What about now being sexualized? Has that happened a lot, whether in a friendship or on a date?
It's the same thing. I mean, that's just being a woman.
Oh,
Like
dude,
it
I'm
sounds
so
so
sorry. That
terrible, but like
sucks.
it happens so often that it's like you just genuinely chalk it up. And usually half the time it's your own fault. That's what it
Like
like
the woman's
gets
fault or the guy's fault?
no,
Or
like
the other party, sorry. I shouldn't even say guy, but
no, I just mean like half the time, like even if yeah, like if I were to be like, oh, like make a comment or say something about like that I feel like I'm being sexualized, it's like, oh, well, like look at like how you present yourself. Look at like what you're wearing. It just becomes like, oh, it's like all of a sudden it's my fault. The reason that like someone is excusing their behavior by like, oh, well, look at how you look. Like look at what you're wearing. Look at how you present yourself. Like God forbid you like go out with your friends and you go to like a bar or a club and it's like you wear a dress or a skirt, you like wear something or like maybe you have a little bit of cleavage, then it like literally is like some sort of green light for men to like see you as a literal piece of meat. But it's because it's
Okay.
your fault that you are dressed in that way. And like which is so not right. But
I
it's happened so frequent than not that it's like I don't feel like any women are even fazed by it anymore. I guarantee it.
that really sucks. Like that sucks to hear. See, I don't I don't know how to describe this. I guess like in a way like I always try to make sure like people around me or girls around me are always comfortable. I guess I kind of lost track of like how common it can be until I started talking to my friend over the weekend. But speaking of, as you said that when you dress a certain way, guys will say, "Well, you're wearing XYZ, you're looking like XYZ." That is shitty. That is in a way like not taking accountability for your actions, right? Like just because a woman's dressed away, it shouldn't. But my question is now this, okay? Let's say a woman, she's wearing some kind of a lingerie to a bar, right?
Hmm.
And obviously somebody's gonna notice, somebody's gonna take a look. Unfortunately, somebody's gonna stare as well. What is the reason that that woman is wearing a clothes knowing that it's going to grab a certain type of attention? Because when I talked to about this conversation with a bunch of my guy friends before we started recording this, the notion that we had is like, okay, well, if somebody dresses a certain way, you're going to notice, right? And you're going to see. You're not trying to make it a big deal. You're not trying to like demean them, demoralize them in any way, but you seem to notice. And the notion that my friend brought up is, am I wrong to see something that is there and you're wearing it, or are you wrong for putting on something knowing that somebody's going to look but then being upset that people are looking? Like what's your take on this? Like, so if a woman wears something very flashy, is a guy shitty for taking notice?
I mean, I think it depends on the person, but I mean, at the end of the day, nobody like the way that you dress
Mm-hmm.
and you feel comfortable in putting something on like that's up to
I
you.
think that's a lot of confidence as well. Yeah,
Oh, 100%. But it's
hundred
also
percent.
like just because like if I were to put something like that on, that is not an
Mm-hmm.
open invitation for somebody to like
To hit on you or
sexualize
see
me.
you in it. Yeah,
Like
fair. Okay.
I 100% know walking into that setting, like a bar or a club or anything of that nature,
Mm-hmm.
in in an outfit like that, 100%, I know for sure people are going to look at you. That's
Mm-hmm.
100%, but it's also like, yeah, you can look, but you also like don't
Have to be
need
respectful.
yeah, like it is natural for men, even women, to like check somebody out or like look at them or stare,
Yeah.
but it's also like have some sort of level of respect. Like just because somebody wore like maybe like a lingerie top to the bar,
Mm-hmm.
so what?
All
Okay.
right.
That does
Fair.
not open it up like okay, like they want it. You know what I mean? Like it does
Yeah. Yeah.
not
That.
open that
Yeah.
door for okay, like that like they dress like that, so like they must like I have a shot. Like it not once does it like scream like hit on me, take me home. It just
Yeah.
means they have some sort of level of confidence and like that's amazing.
I'm with you on that. I think it's so fucking scummy. When like guys are like, "Oh my god, like she's dressed a certain way, she's being a hoe, she's asking for it," or obviously like she's dressed a certain way at a bar, like obviously she's trying to like hook up or whatever. To me, it's like the way I see it is kind of like if a guy lost a lot of weight, he became really jacked, very toned, six pack, all the shebang shbong. He's going to wear a certain type or certain fit of clothes to accentuate his physique.
100%.
And the way I see it is so do girls. But in a way, guy could be accentuating physique because he's either A, feeling himself and he just has that newfound confidence. Let's say he lost a lot of weight, had body insecurity issues, now he doesn't. Or he's trying to gather a certain amount of attention. He wants people to notice. And I think that is okay. But because whether you want people to notice or whether you're doing it because you're just feeling yourself does not allow somebody else just to jump to conclusion regarding what your preferences are in terms of how you want to be treated. So I am
100%.
with you on board with that. And I think it's so fucking scummy. And like that's the thing, like, I was talking to my guy friends and even my girlfriend over the weekend, and we got into this and I started thinking, I'm like, okay, like obviously, women are fairly heavily sexualized in modern day and age. But I didn't fully grasp how often it's happening. But I know the notion that a lot of guys also have is like, well, they're dressed a certain way or well, they are being a certain way. And like that was the question I had is like, if you are dressed a certain way, are you expecting that kind of energy or what is it? So
I mean,
I understand that.
at the end of the day, like it I feel like depending on who you are and like who like where you're going, it doesn't matter
Uh-huh.
what you wear. At some level, there's a person that is going to sexualize you no matter what you do, no matter what you
Right.
wear. It's
Mm-hmm.
like it's all down to preference. Like maybe some guy like finds it like, "Oh, I like a woman who's like in baggy sweats or like this," and like that to me is like, "Oh yeah, like whatever." Or someone else on the other side of it's like, "Oh, like I like it when like someone's like in something revealing and this,"
Mm-hmm.
and it's like either way, like as a female, like you get sexualized no matter what you're doing. So,
Right.
even in places like the gym, like it just someone's just going for a workout, but there's always somebody that, you know, feels like they have the right to make a move. And I mean 100% like shoot your shot, but it's also not always wanted.
I understand. Okay. Has it ever happened to you where, like, let's say you're trying to get to know a guy, or whether as a friend or a partner, and that the other person just sexualized you to an extent where you being sexualized got in the way of your either developing relationship or, your goals with that person?
Yeah, 100%.
Ooh, that sucks. I'm so sorry.
I mean,
That's a
I
bummer.
don't I don't know. Like I think too like for me personally, like I'm not a very affectionate person unless I am
Mm-hmm.
like comfortable with you.
Sure.
Um, so I find for me like I get it. Everybody has their own love languages and everybody, are like they are who they are. But I also feel that when somebody is overly affectionate or always wants to touch me and like right off the bat, it is actually a
Mm-hmm.
bigger turnoff to me than it is like especially if I've already communicated that like I'm not like I don't really want you to touch me like that. Like I would much rather, like have a conversation than like you try and like I don't
Make a
know,
move.
touch me or kiss me or make a move. It's like I don't know, especially right off the bat. It's like I don't
Yeah,
even know
fair.
you.
Fair.
So,
This is the last question I ask you. What do you think would help with the issue that is of women being, overly sexualized and even objectified? What is it that you think could help? Is there something you wish guys or even some women did different?
I mean, it's a pretty controversial topic. I mean,
Yeah,
if
that's
you
true.
t
Yeah.
if you talk to like some men, they'll be like, "Oh, well, it's the woman's fault. It's the woman's fault because they
Oh,
present themselves
yeah,
in a way."
that's
So then it's
really
like,
stupid.
okay, so
Yeah.
you're not going to change because you feel like I'm doing this for you, which gives you the green light to disrespect me.
Mm-hmm.
So like that kind of sucks, but then also on the other hand too, like why is it that if a woman feels confident in what they're wearing, that gives people the option to be like, yeah, like they want it. Like it just I I don't know that it'll ever be fixed or changed because I don't feel like most men see it that it's wrong. They just feel it
Mm.
because it's their right as a man.
Not gonna lie, that's pretty gross to hear. Um,
Welcome to the life
and
of a woman.
Yeah, that sucks. I am really sorry. And I hope to any guy that is listening to this episode, just because a woman's wearing or dress a certain way doesn't mean the respect goes out of the window. Just approach the person with respect. One of the best advice I ever got is like just treat a person with respect. You'll go a lot farther than anything else. And honestly, it's true. And I think we just live in a world where majority of the sex is not respecting other sex. Does that make sense? And that's just a bummer.
I also
And
feel
knowing
like like, and it's not just men. Like, I mean,
no, it's not. It's not. It's even
it's
women,
not.
right? It's
But
not.
I feel like most people see it as it's more of their right. It's my right to do this. And so then that's the mentality. And I think that is where the perspective gets jaded.
Like I am gonna hit on her, like I am supposed to, in that kind of sense, is it right?
Yeah. Or they like almost go into like I said, like the club or the bar setting. And it's like, my goal tonight is to take
Is to
somebody
get laid.
home. Yeah.
Yeah. So you
So
are trying to fulfill.
So
Okay.
it's like, let me try and find who I feel is the easiest person in the place because of what they're wearing.
Yeah. I understand what you mean. And I think even if that's your goal, I don't think that's a shitty goal. I mean, casual sex is casual sex. Everybody likes it. Everybody enjoys it.
Oh, 100%.
My thing is you can try to fulfill your goal of taking somebody home and still not jump to conclusion. I think that is one of the things that we do very easy is just jump to conclusion. Just because a person's dressed a certain way or is talking a certain way does not mean it's gonna end a certain way. Thanks for sharing that. That was a topic that's been on my mind over the weekend, and I'm glad we got to talk about that a little bit. And I got to also share the story of how I sat in a in a in a bowl full of hot curry and burned my 7-year-old butt. I still have a mark. I'm still scarred. And you know what's weird is a week later when I went back to school, I told my teacher, I'm like, ma'am, in India, like I went to private school, I had to call my teachers ma'ams or sirs. I was like, ma'am, I can't sit. And she's like, what do you mean you can't sit? I'm like, I basically burned myself. And she's like, how would you burn yourself? And I was like, I sat in a bowl of like curry. And the teacher laughed in front of all the kids and she made me tell the whole class. And they all
No.
fucking laughed. And I know what you're listening. You're like, oh my god, now I'm traumatized. That's when I realized I just want to make people laugh. And I'm okay to make an ass of me in the process.
No pun
So,
intended.
yeah, no pun intended. And the weirdest thing is, the teacher's like, okay, well, she thought I was bullshitting because it just sounds so fucking crazy, but it's not. I actually did. And she was like, okay, well, we can go to the nursery room and show me. And I'm like, what? She's like, show me the mark. And I was like,
Picture, it didn't
okay.
happen.
Huh?
I said picture, it didn't happen.
Yeah, Pixar didn't happen. And I was like, okay, so I fucking go down. And luckily, I go walking over to the nursery office, which passes the principal's office. My grandpa was there. And he was like talking. He's like, yeah, I just came to drop off the note that like, basically this kid can't sit down, so he's only allowed to do like half school. Like I'm not sitting. And then the teacher just pretty much walked, and I went home. My grandpa got me ice cream. It was actually a pretty lit day.
That's so
So
funny.
burned booty cheeks and ice cream. What could go wrong? You know. But but I want to thank you for being on the show again. Now I appreciate it. This was a very this was an enlightening conversation in a way, and I know the topic was a bit heavy, but I hope my listeners got to learn something, got to ponder something, and that you all enjoyed listening to me tell the story of me getting my booty cheeks burned. So
Your poor booty cheeks.
my poor 7-year, and I had to wear a skirt through the whole process. Could you imagine a 7-year-old brown kid with like long hair wearing a skirt up till collarbone? That like I
I
had to
feel
do
like
that
you
shit for like
loved
10
it
days.
though.
Yeah, it was very freeing. I'm not wearing anything underneath. Just like frolicking through the house. It was lit.
Could
But
have put on a sock.
there's a joke in there. I'm just not gonna make it. We all know what the joke is. But thank you for being on my show, Nell. I appreciate you. Listeners, I hope you enjoyed episode 10 of the show. Thank you so much for tuning in again. And I hope you tune in next week. Feel free to follow the socials of the show, quarterlife_chit chat. Tell your friends, share the word, and do me a favor. If you're listening on Spotify, leave a comment, leave a rating, and if you're listening on Apple Podcast, leave a review. I appreciate it. Every rate and a review helps me get my name out there more. and gives me some online clout that will allow me one day to get Jeff Bezos on this show. I am determined. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Quarter Life Chit Chat. Much love.
Bye.
Bye-bye.